Hello darlings, welcome back to my channel. My name is Coralie and welcome to this year's ranking of all the eyeshadow palettes I tried in 2023. I have a lot to say about my absence. Actually, I have very little to say. The woman that's coming before you right now has a master's degree, and that explains my absence for long form content on YouTube. I have been posting almost daily shorts, so if you guys are ever interested in stuff like that, you can check my page. There's a bunch of them. I also post daily on Instagram, daily on TikTok, so I definitely didn't stop creating content or doing content. I just stopped making long form content because I didn't have time to edit, to be honest. So I was doing a huge research project. I'm not gonna like bore you guys more with that stuff, but I am back and I am back to stay, I hope. So yeah, if you guys want to get ready with me talking about stuff like this, then tell me. I'd be honored to make one. But we have, I think, 31 palettes to talk about today. So these are all palettes I tried in the year of 2023. Some of them I purchased myself, some of them I got in PR, and so I ranked all of them. Now, I feel like this ranking could literally change in like a week, but this is today's ranking, and it's just gonna serve as the ranking for the entire year. So without further ado, you guys, let's get started. Let's get into it. We're gonna rank these palettes from the one I like the least to the one I like the most. I'm gonna have the numbers on the screen because I know I'm not gonna follow, so you know. Anyways, the palette I liked the least is the Urban Decay X Smiley. This is a chill happy palette. This is what it looks like right here. This is not a bad quality palette. I like the quality of it. They have two mattes in there, the beige and the like light orange, and they have 4 shimmers. I actually don't like the quality of the deepest shimmer. I just feel like it's sheer. It's black based, but it doesn't have enough like reflex to warrant it being black based. I've actually used this palette quite a few times. This was sent to me in PR by Urban Decay. I just don't like the color story of this. I feel like these two right here should have been mattes, right? A matte red and a matte purple. I feel like that would have made the palette that much more usable, and I think you can make a good color story in 6 bands. I just feel like this wasn't it. So not a bad palette, just not my taste. Next we have the Lottie London the Rose Golds palette. This was sent to me by Lottie London in PR. This palette is not bad quality. I actually really like this palette for like a quick everyday simple. I feel like if I'm ever in truly a rush, like I'm talking 6-minute makeup, because I can't do it in 5, but maybe 6 I could. This just blends really easily, but I also feel like the shades blend away a little bit, so it makes it really great for people that are beginner or just like a soft blended like neutral look. So I actually really like this, and this shimmer right here, this shimmer is actually very, very, very pretty and like glistening. So it's not a bad palette. It's just not my favorite color story. But if I'm ever in a certain situation, I feel like this is a great palette to have. Next is also by Lottie London. This is Fired Up. It's also one of their 9 pans. I actually really like this one. I really like the color story of this one. It definitely gets a little bit more intense. You can see the last row is a little darker, and it has like more colorful neutrals, like very warm yellowish orange. And I actually really, really like this. I'm not gonna lie, this is like, the quality is the same as the other one, except because the colors are more saturated in this one, I feel like they don't blend away. And so I am a huge fan actually of this. I think it's great for the price. It's not the best eyeshadow formula I've ever tried, but it's a palette that I would recommend from the drugstore. And so this one I actually really like. It's very fall, very pretty. Definitely a color story I really like. This is the NYX Ultimate I Know That's Bright palette. They used to have these and they reformulated them. I love the formula, the reformulation of these. Incredible. The shimmers are so much prettier, so much more reflective and shiny, and the mattes actually hold great pigmentation. The issue that I have with this palette is truly and purely a like color story one. I feel like in the mattes we don't have enough contrast. For example, we have this really beautiful darker like purple shimmer right here, but what's bothering me is that this purple shimmer is darker than any of the mattes we have in the palette, and I feel like it's too mid-tone. There's not enough pastels, there's not enough like darker colorful mattes, and so this color story for me is lacking in depth and contrast. But I do really like the quality, and I do really like the reformulation of it. And when I think about the drugstore shopper, I feel like most people shop more neutral shades. So someone that just wants to add a little bit of color and add pops of colors into their makeup, I feel like those tones are perfect for that. So I understand why they did it. I just wish it had more contrast. But I will say, I love the formula of this, and I have one of the other palettes that's actually ranking much higher because it's very, very good. This was sent to me by NYX, by the way, so yeah. Next we have the Viseart eyeshadow palettes. They're all ranked in the same place, but I'm gonna explain to you why. They're not ranked in the same place actually, but they're ranked next to each other. This is the Petite Warm right here. I love warm tones. I mean, you can't tell today, but I love warm tones. I have a warmer like undertone, so I really like things that are warm. They look really great on me. Not bragging, but yeah. And I really like that we have this little column of like, you know, red, orange, yellow. I love color, so obviously I'm very, very excited about this. The thing that I don't like about this palette is I feel like we could have used a much deeper warm brown. I feel like these are not deep enough. You know, this is a light shade, so you can get contrast with this palette. For it to be a perfect matte warm palette for me, it needed to have something a little bit darker. Next we have the Viseart. This is the Petite Matte Neutrals. So this is a makeup artist staple, and I'm sure you can guess why. I love the contrast, I love the cool tones, I love the warm tones, I love the lighter shades. This is a great basic palette. The only reason why it's ranking low is because I just don't wear like I like neutrals. I love the way I look when I do neutrals. It's just not the makeup style that I do the most, and that's like perfectly fine. We all have different makeup styles, colors that we reach for more than others. I am someone that even in my day-to-day, even when I went to work, I would wear green eyeshadow. I love color, it's my favorite, but I also do love neutrals, and I think neutrals have a time and place in my collection. And I will say these shadows are very great quality. Viseart is very, very great quality. It's all matte. I love mattes. They're kind of my favorite. So it's a great palette. It really is. It's not ranking higher because it's more neutral leading, but it's very good. This is the Viseart Petite Cool Mattes. So this is the cool tone one. This one is ranking higher because it has blues and purples and a pink. I mean, it's just the more colorful Viseart palette, which is truly the only reason why it's ranking this highly. I'm very basic. I'm very easy to understand, easy to predict. It's just like a color story I love. I bought this palette because of Seeking Shifts. She's just raving about the Viseart Cool Mattes. I think she has pans in them or whatever. And I was like, this is a pretty like muted color story, which I don't have a lot of in my collection because I prefer brighter tones. But I love these, especially for like work and stuff. I love muted, colorful shades. I think they are my perfect like work neutral, I guess. Anyways, super pretty. I don't know why they would place this shade here, and like I don't know why they would do that, but that's how it's officially done, so I haven't changed them. But Viseart, give me a call. What is this? Next we have the Alter Ego Canyon palette. I purchased this one with my own money. I also purchased the Visearts with my own money. This is a dupe for the Natasha Denona bronze? I think it's the bronze. Could it be the bronze palette? I actually really like this one. I really like this one. I didn't have a warm toned neutral palette with shimmers, and so this I felt like was missing from my you know, collection. And I also wanted to try Alter Ego. I know Alter Ego replicates the Natasha Denona palettes, and like that's all fun and games, to be honest, but I just don't like that the darkest shade we have in this palette, which is this beautiful saturated brown, I don't like that it's a cream. I feel like it doesn't give the same effect. Yeah. The shimmers in this palette are a little bit basic, but they are pretty. They're not ugly shimmers, so I do like this. I think it is nice. It's just not, like, I'm glad I bought this color story at this price point and not the Natasha Denona price point, because it serves its purpose, but it hasn't cost me an arm and a leg, so yeah. The next palette is the Blend Money Forget Me Not eyeshadow palette. This was sent to me in PR. This is an eye and face palette, okay? And again, I feel like this palette suffers the same fate as the other in terms of it's not a bad quality palette, it's just a neutral palette, so I don't use it a lot. But these as highlights, okay, these are incredible. I use them as highlights actually a lot because I really like this pink one and I really like this gold one. I don't use this as highlight, This, I've used it on the eyes. I've used these two on the eyes the most. But you can see, like, I've dipped my finger in this and I've dipped my face brushes in this a lot more than I dipped my eye brushes in them. But I will say I love the concept of this. I love how deep it goes. And I think making it a versatile face and eye palette is the perfect thing that Blend Money could have done in order to sell this palette and so that it can be versatile for many skin tones. So I really, really appreciate that Blend Money did this. I really, really enjoy the concept of this palette. I just don't use it that much because it's neutral. I feel like that's the only reason, but I do actually enjoy it and I do use it every now and then, especially the white and the pink shade for the face, and especially the shade Anticipation for bronzer and these for highlighters. So this is nice. Just, it's neutral. You're gonna see as we go up, there's gonna be more colorful shades. Next we have the Glamlight Margarita palette. I actually bought this during their Black Friday sale. Yeah, we're getting into the color. We're getting into the color. This is so pretty. It's such a beautiful color story. I really, really like it. I just didn't have the time to try it out more than like 3 looks. So I'm not like super well versed, but I know the Glamlight formula and this is similar to it. The reason why this palette is ranking at this stage is because, and you can repeat after me, there's not enough contrast. I feel like this shimmer is darker than this matte. These work. I feel like this one is like, the darkest shade we have is this red, and I just wish we had a little bit more variety. For example, I did need this shade. With the other shades, I didn't need this shade. We could have done like a deep blue or something like a little darker and just have a little bit more contrast in the palette. I get that it's a 15 pan, but you know, I wish we had more. But I will say the shades that I've used, it's so beautiful. It's so stunning. I love this gold, this yellow, and these like brownish tones, but I especially love this little corner right here. It's very pretty. I think Glamlight did a really great job quality-wise. I just wish we had more depth. I want more depth, you guys. I like extreme and dramatic makeup. This is what I like. Then we have the Glamlight Chocolate Martini, which I purchased at the very same time. This palette, I think, is like my favorite neutral palette. Although it's not going to reflect in this ranking because it is a neutral palette, and neutral palettes are just like naturally going to rank lower. This is great quality. This is actually the eyeshadow palette I wore to present my research project like a week and a half ago. Not even a week and a half, like a week ago. I graduated a week ago, you guys, which is why I'm only now back. So anyways, crazy, very crazy. This is so beautiful. You get more rosy tones. You get more like warmer, like, you know, copperish tones. This blue, I haven't used this one yet, but I'm really curious too. I just really, really enjoy this palette. And Chocolate Martini, I've never had a martini, but Chocolate Martini is just such a pretty name. So I like this. Next on the radar is the Alter Ego Artemis palette. This is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Metropolis, I think. I think it's the Metropolis. This is what it looks like. I really enjoy the color story of like neutral with green accents and like blues. I think it's really fun. It's really pretty. Some of these shimmers, this one especially, is just so stunning. And I really, really like the concept of it. Again, my problem is that all of the deeper shades and most of the mattes are cream. And although they are nice, like I've used them before, they are nice, they just don't carry the same depth that a powder would. Like they have really nice colors, really nice undertones, but it's not the same depth that I'm seeing in the pan, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I like the color story. Again, I am glad though that I purchased this at this price point and not a Natasha Denona price point. Next we have the NYX Ultimate Paradise, I can't open it, Shock palette. This was sent to me in PR, like the rainbow one. I prefer this one because it has depth. So you can see right here, depth in the shimmers. I love how I love how varied this color story is. It's like a warmer tone color story. You have these like weird fun greens. You have these pinks, reds. You have these neutrals, this yellow, this lime green. I just really like how varied they were able to make a 16 pan palette. The shimmers are very, very pretty. Like honestly, NYX killed this reformulation. I am glad they went ahead and reformulated these. I only owned the Bright Rainbow palette previously, and it was a great rainbow palette for a beginner, but it just was not the best quality. So I'm really glad they upped these because I feel like these are going to be a lot of people's entryways into eyeshadow palettes, you know? I feel like we've all purchased a drugstore palette as maybe our first eyeshadows ever. So Really interesting. Really, really interesting. Next, we have the Wine Palette by Glamlight. This, I love this. I really like purple. You guys, purple and pink are my favorite colors. Like in the real world, they're also some of my favorite colors to wear on my eyes. I love how you get warmer purples, you get these warmer tones right here, and then you get cooler toned purples. You get a lot of depth, you get a lot of light shades, you have really fun shimmers that are like duochrome. I don't know if you can see, I'm trying to, yeah, you can see them. Like a lot of blue reflex in these. This gold, I haven't used this gold yet. I'm curious though. I'm curious to see how I'm gonna like it, but just so much beautifulness and so much exquisiteness in a purple palette. This is a monochromatic purple palette done right, and it's my favorite one that I've tried from the Glamlight bunch. This is not going to be part of the ranking, but honorable mention because I haven't tried this Dirty Martini one yet by the time I'm filming this video, which is why it's not going to be in this year's ranking. It's going to be in next year's ranking, which I know, awkward, but at the same time, it's just I haven't had time to try it. And there's two other palettes that I haven't had time to try, which are the Odin's Eye, the Merry Christmas and the Christmas Eve one. I haven't tried these yet. I'm just going to show them to you though, because I think you deserve to see. I'm going to try these on like Christmas Eve and Christmas respectively. So they're not included in this ranking, but they will be in next year's ranking. Anyways, next we have the Glaminatrix Cosmetics Sugar and Spice Eyeshadow Palette. This was sent to me in PR by Glaminatrix. This palette is ranking this low not because of the quality. Glaminatrix has fabulous mattes and their shimmers. Their shimmers pick up really easily on a finger, like most shimmers, but they also pick up incredibly well on a brush, which I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I really don't want to get my fingers dirty, so when I want to use brushes, I know I can reach into a Glaminatrix palette and the shimmers are still going to look stunning and beautiful. This is an incredible multi-chrome. These are all like really special, whether they be multi-chromes like these or like flakier textures or just like a really sparkly, like not prinkly, but twinkly, this is what I want to say, twinkly shade. This one is one of my favorite shades in my entire collection. It's called Basil. Look at that. Look at that. I don't know if you can see it because I'm too far and okay, let's just be really honest today. I cannot see my monitor very well, but it's just like, I don't know, maybe if I do it like this. It's a stunning shade. I've worn this, and every time I wore this, I got compliments. So that's how you know. And the pastel mattes are really great. The reason why it's ranked low is because I'm just not a neutral girl. So like, there's a lot of neutral mattes in these, and they're cool tone neutral mattes, which I have a warmer undertone, so I prefer usually warmer mattes. But you know, I really like the depth. This is a palette that has really great contrast. You know what I mean? Like you can see it's very dark here, very light, and I like it. I really like it. It's just, it's not the best. We have some other palettes from Glaminatrix Cosmetics that are ranking much higher. Next, we have the MBA Cosmetics Sunset Beach palette in collaboration with Deandra Nicole. If you guys don't know who Deandra is, she's a swatcher. She has like darker skin and she swatches so much. I don't know how she does it. She's like a beast at swatching. I love her content and I love her. She's great. And she follows me. She's like my mutual. So I don't know. Anyway, I love this palette. Like we're getting into a place where all of these palettes, I love them. I really do. I love this palette. The shimmers are incredible. The mattes are incredible. The reason why it's ranking this low is because I prefer palettes that are more matte heavy. And so, you know, this is 2/3 shimmers and 1/3 mattes, but the shimmers in this are actually worth it. I'm not gonna lie. Every single look I've done with this palette, I have adored. It's beautiful. The shadows blend well. This was sent to me in PR by MBA Cosmetics. I actually have a code with them. I'll put it on the screen. But this shade right here, what is it called? Malibu? Malibu is insane. It's an insane multi-chrome. The shade Pfeiffer Beach. I don't know if that's how you say it. I'm not even supposed to be speaking English. Occur. See, this is what happens when you haven't filmed in a long time. I think I was talking about this palette, so I'm gonna restart talking about it. This is the Winter Wonderland palette by MBA Cosmetics. It was also sent to me in PR. This is ranking higher than Sunset Beach, not because I like the color story more, but because it has more contrast. You get a white, you get those deeper shades, those lighter shades. And so this is truly why it ranked higher. And it's actually the palette I'm wearing today on my eyes. It's very pretty. These shimmers are insane. They have two normal satin shimmers, which are not like the most flashy, but they work and they're nice. They have a purpose. But these right here, it's all like multi-chromes, duochromes, flaky shades. I actually swatched Arctic Blast for you right here. And it's just like, it's so good. It's so good. I love the formula of these. Obviously, I have the code. I have all my codes in the description box. I just feel like that's easier. And I'll put them on the screen. I'm just not going to mention them because, no, whatever. I really like this. I really like this. It's like a simple color story. You see, you can make a great color story in 12 pans, and I think this is one of those. Next, we have the Glaminatrix Cosmetics Fairy Lights. This was their holiday release. I actually bought this with my own money. They weren't sending PR for this collection, but it was just so pretty. These are the twinkly shimmers. They are beautiful. I always think of like all shimmer palettes like these as being paired with all matte palettes. So we're thinking Viseart, we're thinking Makeup by Mario Master Mattes, we're thinking ColourPop Gone Matte, we're thinking Blend Bunny Blends. This is the kind of like product that I pair with my matte eyeshadow palettes. You know what I mean? Which is why I like having both of them. And this one is so pretty. This is a silver hollow. I've worn this one the most because it's the most fun. It's so fun to have like a little silver hollow moment. I've used these ones doing like more neutral tones, which I don't do much of, but I do enjoy when I do them. And I cannot wait to use these two. I haven't used these two yet. I've used these four, I'm pretty sure, but I haven't used these two, which are the more colorful ones, which is surprising. But the formula of these is so pretty. It's so twinkly. Actually, you know what? You deserve a little swatch. We're gonna go with Wreath. It's so pretty. I'm gonna put it on the it's the red, so you're gonna see it. Oh my god, do you see that? That is stunning. It's beautiful. And I feel like when you look closer at it, it has little sparkles, so it does twinkle. It's not just like a metallic shade. It has a twinkly effect. We have the Pat McGrath Mothership 9 Utopian Dream palette. I keep this in the box because y'all know how much money this was. I actually bought it on sale. I would say buy Pat McGrath on sale because who's paying all that money? Anyways, this was my grad gift to myself. I actually bought it in the summer, way before I graduated, but that's neither here nor there, okay? This is the only palette from Pat McGrath that I ever saw and I was like, oh, I need this. And it stayed that way through all the other releases that she has had. This one is the one that really called to me. I think it's like, sorry, my screen is mirrored and I've forgotten how to film YouTube videos, so yeah. This purple to blue like duochrome situation. This is a like pink magenta to gold to green, so like a nice multi-chrome. These shades are stunning. I actually think I have a dupe for this in Cleona, but that's neither here nor there. We'll explore that probably in a later video. But the three mattes I think are very pretty. It's like a basic palette, but I feel like it's a nice basic palette. It's a basic palette that fits my needs. This is like, I always joke about this, but this feels to me like a great palette for like church. But also a great palette for like a business meeting. A great palette for if you have like public speaking you need to do. This feels like the palette for that. So I really like it. And I'm really glad I purchased it. I just don't really see myself purchasing any other Pat McGrath palette for now because this one was the prettiest to me. I had been wanting it for like two years, I think, or maybe 3. So I don't know. It's just, look at this. Oh, it's so pretty. I love it. It's beautiful. Next, we have the Pley's Book of Spells. This is the Hocus Pocus Regain Focus palette. This one, they have like a little, oh my god, I'm losing. What's the word in English? A lock. We're gonna call it that. They have this little like lock that you can like, you know, undo with a little key. These are ranking this low, not because of their color story. They have great color stories, but they're so bulky. I feel like they could have definitely made it this thin. Am I like unreasonable to think that? Anyways, these are really beautiful. I really like the color stories of them. And they're double-sided. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Sorry, this is going to be a little bit difficult. Oh, wow. This is the first side. Wow, beautiful. I love the mattes. These are matte heavy palettes, but the shimmers are really, really pretty. I really like this green shimmer. I really like this like blue shimmer. This one too. It's really beautiful, and Pley's has great quality. They just need to stop with the bulky packaging. But I did buy this knowing the packaging would be bulky, and I conceded that. You know, like there's a lot of their palettes that I didn't buy because they were bulky, but these color stories interested me so much that I didn't care, which is the truth. Then we have this one, which is warm, beautiful, 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 very fall. I really like the color story of these palettes. Like, I really like them. Their mattes are very creamy. They build up nicely. I would say the true flaw of this palette is the packaging. Because it's beautiful, it's stunning, it's definitely like display worthy, but it's awful. I feel like it takes all the place in my drawers, and I'm actually considering like displaying some palettes, especially the ones that are held to store, because whatever. Because I couldn't stop at one, I also bought the second one, which is a Droplet of Magic. This one is my favorite color story because I feel like I don't have palettes with color stories like these. Like, I have palettes that have warm color stories, cool color stories, and like, you know, fun stuff. But this one, this is my favorite side. Look at that. It's like a gray, but with teal. I really like teal. I mean, we can clearly see I'm a teal girl. You know what I mean? But I love these teals. I love these more muted shades right here. This one, these two together are beautiful. This silver, incredible. And I love that it's not a complete gray. It's like a mauve gray. I really like this. And I love the contrast of this palette too, because the other one was more mid-tone. It had a little bit of contrast, but it was definitely more mid-tone. Whereas this one has a white. This one has a black. Like, I'm just, you know, I am more likely to be interested in these. And then you get this, like, my god, I'm sorry, there's so many contraptions and straps and stuff. I'm just trying to keep them out of your way. We have this red and purple color story, which I love, but do feel that lacks a little bit of contrast, but you can just go into the other side and grab your contrast there. But I really, really do like these palettes. The quality is very fabulous. The shimmers and the mattes are great. And Pley's did a good job. Next palette is the Glaminatrix Cosmetics Into the Night palette. I got this palette sent to me in PR. The only palette that I have in my collection that hasn't like a vibe similar to this is the Blend Money Search palette, and that palette has been discontinued. You know, it has the murky mattes, it has the neon mattes, it has some fun, cute little shimmers. I really, really like this palette. I know a lot of people didn't, which was shocking to me. This was actually the first palette Glaminatrix ever sent me in PR. I'm shocked people didn't like this. I feel like this is so different, and I love how different it is. This trio of shadows, the greens, I have worn that like 4 times. Which I try never to like wear the same eyeshadow looks, but this is one of my favorite shimmers in my collection. It's so beautiful. I don't know, they make shimmers really different. This silver, insane. I love this. I love this. I've created some of my favorite looks this year using this palette, so I just like, it's great quality. It's a great color story, something that I've definitely not seen explicitly done before. Glaminatrix, you win. Next, we have the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Sugar in Grunge. The only reason why this is the, I think, lowest, no, Forget Me Not was the lowest ranking Blend Money. This is the second lowest ranking Blend Money. I purchased this one with my own money. That was before I got on their PR list. The reason why is because it has a row of grays, and I'm just not a fan of grays. Other than that, the palette is very good. It's very fine. It's great formula. I really, really like all the tones that aren't the grays. I mean, I do love a dark gray because it's great for deepening. It's just these two, I'm like, but I love the shimmers. The shimmers here are very twinkly, which is very, very stunning, very beautiful. I love this shade. I love this shade. I love the pastels. I love these neutrals. These are cool tone neutrals I actually really enjoy. Very, very nice. I really like how the shimmers are actually jumbled. It's kind of cute. It's kind of different. It's fun. This is a great palette. I feel like a lot of people love this palette because they were 90s kids. I was born in 2001, so I don't necessarily, like, I understand the theming, but the theming doesn't make me nostalgic, so I'm just not, I'm not the right person to talk about the theming of this palette, but I really enjoy it. I really do like Sugar and Grunge. I like it more than I thought I would, so you know, that's great. Next is the Blend Bunny Machina palette. This palette was sent to me by Blend Bunny. This is their, like, last release of the year. This is the palette that Maggie worked on with her father before he passed away. So this has a lot of nostalgic value, I think, to Maggie, the creator of Blend Money. I love this palette. I love how bright it is. I love bright shadows. I feel like we can tell. These shimmers are some of the best shimmers that I think Blend Money has ever done. Duochrome, 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 duochrome. Wait, no, is this one? Yeah, it is. I don't see a lot of duochrominess in this one, but maybe it is duochrome and I'm just not noticing. I love the contrast. Again, the only shade in this palette I haven't used yet is this one. I just don't, I'm not a gray girl, I think. I'm not a gray girl, but I definitely know that it has a time and place. Time and place. Everything has a time and place, so I don't know. I love this. I love this a lot. I love this a lot. I really like this shade. I think it's really pretty. Very pretty, like almost periwinkle pastel blue, but it's a little more blue than periwinkle. I don't know if that makes sense, but this is a stunning palette. I really, really like it. I love the packaging. It's very pretty. It's a beautiful palette. Next, we have the Glamlight Ice Cream Dream eyeshadow palette. This is actually the first palette I bought in the year of 2023 because I was on a no-buy and I was being very good at it. This is a nice, like, pastel palette. This is a great pastel palette for medium skin tones, I would say. The shades are a little bit more vibrant than pastels, but on my skin tone, at least, they do translate as pastels. I really like this. I love how many shimmers also it has. Usually, you guys know I'm a matte girl, but somehow in this palette, it works really, really well. I just wish, the one thing I do wish, I wish we had a true blue as a pastel, because this one is more periwinkle. This is like a darker teal. I wish we had a true blue, but it's very pretty. I love this really light white, like ish, you know, highlight shade. I love that we have like a few deeper shades, because I feel like a perfect palette sometimes does need to have a few accompanying shades. It's not always you want to look like super bright with your eyeshadow. So I guess having those makes it more murky. Even the neutrals in this palette are beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. This quad is my favorite. Like these four like purples and pinks. Beautiful. Oh my god, my battery is weak. Okay, I'm gonna try to finish this really quickly. Bella Beauty Bar Pastel Garden. This palette, I went back and forth. Oh no. Okay, you guys, I'm gonna come back. There's a shade that just exploded all over me and I need that shade. I'm gonna come back. I'm so sorry. That was very scary. I wasn't able to salvage all of the eyeshadow, but I repressed it. It's the shade Fairy Tumble that took a tumble, actually. It's this blue shade right here. I'm just gonna show it to you guys once. I appreciate you guys seeing this. But I'm gonna tuck it real quick because I just don't want any like mishaps. This palette has a lot of really light mattes. I would definitely say this palette has sometimes pastels that I find to be repetitive, but I think what really shines in this palette is the pastel shimmers have the prettiest duochrominess, the prettiest twinkle, the prettiest multi-chrominess. It's like really... It's a really, sorry, I said I wasn't going to show it, but I keep showing it. It's a beautiful palette. I love this. I think it's so beautiful, and I'm upset I haven't used it more, actually. So I need to pull this out carefully, because there's so much shimmery blue pigment on my floor right now, because there was little bits and bobs I truly could not salvage. I will have to mop this. Anyways, beautiful Bella Beauty Bar. First year I'm trying this brand. Very, very impressed. Next, we have the Glaminatrix Cosmetics Rich Romantic palette. This was sent to me in PR. This is my favorite palette they've ever done. You can see it's pink and purple. Obviously, I'm in love. This is beautiful. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. It has contrast. Look at this very light shade. These dark shades right here. Oh, the shimmers are beautiful. I'm sorry, I keep looking in my mirror and then I look at my monitor. This palette, like these multi-chromes, like, or duochromes or whatever, I'm not an expert yet, but I will be, are just so beautiful. This shade is one of my favorite shades ever. So stunning. This palette, oh my god. Like, I mean, by the way, this is my top 5. Starting with the Pastel Garden, these are my top 5. This palette, oh my god, it's so pretty. Every time I see it online, I see it on Instagram, I'm like this post, like this, like this. This is by far one of my favorite palettes of the year. Oh my god, it's so pretty. On my TikTok review of this palette, I said this is like my modern day, modern renaissance. Like this is ABH modern renaissance, but for people that like pretty shadow. Next, we have the Blend Money Lure palette. This was released close to when The Little Mermaid was released. And when I tell y'all I'm a Little Mermaid stan, the Little Mermaid fans rise up. I mean, clearly I love these water like inspired colors. This is one of my favorite palettes ever from Blend Money. I just think the color story is so pretty. These shimmers are beautiful. They're a little more like smushy, which could be like tough if you have creasy lids. But if you use a good primer, I find that I don't have problems. You get one fun little multi-chrome in this palette. I love this. This is one of my favorite palettes ever. It's so pretty. It's so beautiful. It's so stunning. It's so The Little Mermaid. And I love a mermaid theme. Mermaids are some of my favorite mythical creatures. And I match the palette. Like, that's how pretty it is, you know? She just matches me and I match her. I bought this one with my own money. That was also before I got on their PR list. Oh, it's so beautiful. And one thing that I love about Blend Money palettes, since we're here, is how they have depth and they have light shade. So in a Blend Money palette, you will always find contrast, which for me is one of the most important things. Top two, this is the Belle Beauté Bar Best Mattes, the collaboration with Ellie Starr and Brittany Huffman. This is so heavy. Every time I pick it up, I'm like, oof. Let me just open it flat so like nothing falls. Okay, we should be fine. We should be in business, you guys. This palette, you can reorganize it. It's all magnetic and you can reorganize the shades however you want, which is something I've definitely done because I like a Roy G. Biv order most of the time. This palette is so good. Like, I just said I was a matte girl. So you guys know that I love matte shadows. I love this palette. I love the tones of this. I love that there's some like neon adjacent shades right here. You get some pastels, you get some really deep shades, a black, a light beige. This is a really incredible palette and I need to use it more. Oh my god, I haven't used it in a while. I feel like lately I was just too focused on using the palettes I just recently got, so I was not using these ones. But yeah, let's talk about my number one palette. This is not going to be a surprise if you know me. This is the Blend Money Sickly Sweet eyeshadow palette. A colorful rainbow pastel palette will always make it to the top. Always. These shimmers, incredible. Some of them are dual chrome, some of them are not. I'm pretty sure like this. Anyways, I love that you have like darker shades too. I love that she sprinkled darker shades in this palette because it makes it so well-rounded and so within my interest. Oh my god, my camera's gonna die. Let me hurry up. This is a beautiful palette. Great formula, great pigmentation, just a really well-built pastel palette in my opinion. You can do so much with this, and I've done a lot with this and I cannot wait to do a lot more. Like, you can see so many dips of my brushes, of my dirty fingers. This palette is my favorite of the year. It is not a surprise. I got it later in the year, so I haven't used it that much. Like, I think we got this in October possibly, so I haven't used it that much, but I know it's my favorite. So that's that, you guys. Oh my god, I'm so happy we're done. This is it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. It's probably really long and a little bit annoying, but I really appreciate your viewership, especially after literally being absent for so long. I probably deserve permanent incarceration for that, but you know what? We'll just leave it. Let's just act like I've been there this whole time, because I kind of have. Anyways, I cannot wait to see what I will get to try in 2024. This has truly been such a fun year in terms of makeup releases. I got on a bunch of brands' PR lists. By the way, Sickly Sweet, I got that in PR. I don't know. I feel like I'm not disclaiming properly, but everything will be disclaimed like on the screen. But this is it, you guys. Tell me what kind of videos you want to see from me. I have a few planned, but I'm not going to tell you about it because it's a surprise. Thank you so much. I'm going to have to go put all of these away and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.